Everyone thought my mind was going. They started signing my life away in front of me. They didn't realize I was counting. I'm glad you're here. My name is Margaret Maggie Caldwell, and I'm 68 years old. I've lived long enough to learn that people get careless around women with gray hair and soft voices. They talk over you. They decide things for you. They assume you won't notice. And sometimes, they assume wrong. The first thing you should know is that I never forgot anything. Not a single name. Not a single date. And certainly not a single signature. I live in a narrow brick house on a street that used to be loud with children and ice cream trucks and the slam of screen doors. Now it's mostly wind chimes and dog walkers and the distant hum of traffic, like the world breathing without thinking about us. The kind of place where people age in place and neighbors quietly disappear between seasons. On the morning this all really began, the air smelled like wet leaves and burned coffee. I was standing at my kitchen sink, rubbing a thumb over a tiny chip in my favorite mug, when my daughter's car pulled up too fast in the driveway. Too fast always means something. Emily didn't knock. She never does anymore. She has a key, and she uses it the way people use punctuation, without asking, just to move the sentence along. The door opened, heels clicking sharp and impatient, and she called my name like she was already tired of the conversation we hadn't started. "Mom, you up?" "I'm always up," I said, and I meant it in more ways than one. She appeared in the doorway with that smile that doesn't reach the eyes, her hair pulled back too tight, her phone already in her hand like a shield. Behind her came my son, David, slower, careful, as if the floor might give way under him. He looked at me the way people look at old photographs, affection mixed with distance. Emily kissed my cheek. David patted my shoulder. Both gestures landed light, temporary. "We just want to talk," Emily said. "People only say that when they want to change something." We sat at the little table by the window, the one my husband refinished before cancer hollowed him out and took him from me. The sun came in sideways, catching the dust in the air. I poured coffee. Emily didn't touch hers. David added sugar he wouldn't drink. They started gently. They always do. "Mom, you've been tired lately. You forgot your checkbook at the store last week. You left the stove on. All true, none of it new. None of it proof of what they wanted it to prove." Emily leaned forward, fingers laced, voice lowered. "We just worry. About you being alone. About things slipping." I smiled into my cup, let the steam soften my face. "Things slip when you hold them wrong." She laughed a little too quickly. David cleared his throat. "That's actually what we wanted to talk about," he said. "Holding things. Managing things." Emily slid a folder onto the table. Thick. Cream-colored. The kind of folder people use when they want to look responsible. "Just some paperwork," she said lightly. "To make things easier." I didn't open it. "What kind of easier?" I asked. She hesitated. A flicker. There it was. Then power of attorney. Some updated medical forms. You know, in case. In case of what? In case you need help. I met her eyes. I already have help. His name was Harold. That did it. The mention of their father always tightened something in them. Guilt. Impatience. Relief. I wasn't sure anymore. David spoke softly. "Dad isn't here, Mom." I noticed. Emily exhaled. "We're just trying to be proactive. This way, if there's an emergency, we can handle your accounts, your house, your care." "My money," I said. "Our responsibility," she corrected. She opened the folder and slid the papers toward me, already uncapping a pen. I looked down. Lines, boxes. Legal language designed to tire people into agreement. "Just sign," she said. "We'll take care of the rest." And there it was, the first signature they thought I wouldn't remember. I picked up the pen. My hand shook. On purpose. "Where do I sign?" I asked. Emily pointed. I leaned closer, squinting, playing my part. I felt their eyes on me, felt the way the room subtly shifted when they decided I was fragile. I signed. Slow, careful, exactly the way I always sign. Margaret Ellen Caldwell. Same loops, same pause before the last L. And while the ink dried, I watched Emily's reflection in the window. The way her shoulders dropped, the way relief made her mouth softer. They left 10 minutes later. Emily hugged me too tight. David lingered, like he wanted to say something else, then didn't. When the door closed, the house felt larger, hollowed. I stood at the table for a long moment, then reached for the folder. I read every word. I read it again. And then I started a list. Because the thing about being underestimated is that it gives you room, quiet, time. I began to notice changes after that. Mail stopped coming directly to me. Packages arrived already opened. My bank app started logging me out. When I asked Emily about it, she smiled that careful smile and said, "Oh, I'm just helping you organize." Helping. She started showing up more, commenting on the house, the stairs, the yard. "Too much for you," she'd say, running a finger along the banister, like she was already measuring it for removal. David began calling instead of visiting, always in a rush, always upbeat. "How's Mom doing?" He'd ask Emily, standing right in front of me. I let it happen. That's the part people don't understand. They think revenge is loud, sudden. It isn't. Revenge is listening. It's memorizing the way your daughter lies without blinking, the way your son avoids certain words. It's noticing that the power bill is being rerouted, that the gardener you didn't hire is suddenly being paid. It's recognizing your own signature on documents you never touched. The first forged one came 3 weeks later. A home equity statement arrived in an email account Emily had set up for me. I saw it because I'd written the password down when she wasn't looking. There it was. My name, my signature. Wrong. Too sharp, too confident. She didn't know about the pause before the last L. I stared at it a long time. Felt something cold settle behind my ribs. They weren't planning to help me. They were planning to replace me. I didn't confront them. Not then. I made soup. I watched the birds fight over the feeder. I went to my doctor and let him talk slowly. And I started gathering. Old statements, deeds, insurance papers, anything with my real signature. I spread them across my bedroom floor at night like tarot cards. Memory isn't just recall, it's pattern, pressure, weight. By the time Emily showed up again with new forms, I already knew what she was going to say. "Just a few more updates, Mom." I nodded. "You always were good at updates." She smiled, pleased. This time she brought a man in a grey suit. He didn't look at me much. He talked to Emily, explained things to David on speakerphone. I was furniture. The papers slid across the table. "Sign here," he said, finally acknowledging me. I adjusted my glasses. "Which one is this?" "Just reaffirming the previous agreement," Emily said quickly. I signed again. And again. Each time, I felt something settle into place. Because now, it wasn't just theft. It was a collection. After they left, I didn't clean up. I didn't put the cups away. I went to my bedroom, opened the old cedar chest at the foot of my bed, and lifted the false bottom Harold had built the year Emily went to college. Inside were the things people assume old women throw out. Carbon copies, cancelled checks, letters, notebooks. I added a new folder. I labeled it in careful block letters. Diane to yours. And for the first time since my husband died, I didn't feel lonely. I felt accompanied. By evidence. By intention. By the quiet certainty that something was coming. Because they thought I was forgetful. And I was just getting started. If you've never been quietly erased from your own life, it happens in small, polite ways. It sounds like concern. It looks like efficiency. It feels like standing in your own kitchen while someone else decides where things belong. After that second round of papers, Emily began arriving with grocery bags I hadn't asked for. I switched you to low sodium, she'd announce, already opening cabinets. And I got rid of the expired stuff. Then she'd throw away things that weren't expired. My favorite tea, Harold's old spice tins, the raspberry jam my neighbor made every summer. You don't need all this clutter, she said once, tying the trash bag with a quick professional twist. Clutter. That was her word for my life. I watched her move through my house like a polite storm, reorganizing drawers, stacking mail, muttering about how much there was to do. Each time she left, something subtle had shifted. A document missing, a drawer lighter, the sense that the walls themselves were listening to her instead of me. David stopped calling me Mom. It became, hey, Em says you're doing okay. Or Emily told me the doctor adjusted your meds. As if information could only travel through her now. As if I were already a story being told instead of a person standing right there. And the doctors, that was where it changed from quiet to dangerous. Emily started coming into the exam room with me. She'd pull the chair close to the doctor's desk, cross her legs, nod at things I hadn't agreed to yet. She's being confused, she'd say gently. I'm sitting right here, I said once. She smiled at the doctor. See what I mean? The doctor didn't laugh, but he didn't contradict her either. He wrote something down. Slower speech, more explanations, less eye contact. After that, he started directing questions to Emily. How has she been sleeping? Any agitation? Has she been resistant to care? Resistant. That one lingered. Because resistance is what they write down when they're preparing to override you. At home, I began to test the edges of what they thought they knew about me. I'd repeat a question, on purpose. I'd misplace my keys where Emily could find them. I'd ask David the same story twice. Each time, I watched their reactions. Relief. Not concern. Not sadness. Relief. It dawned on me one evening, standing in the hallway, while Emily whispered into her phone on my porch, that they were not afraid for me. They were impatient with me, waiting. For a door to open. For a label to stick. For something official enough that my objections could be called symptoms. I went back into my bedroom and sat on the edge of the bed, the old quilt folded at my knees. My hands were steady. That's what struck me most. I didn't feel panicked. I didn't feel confused. I felt alert. The way I used to feel when my third graders were about to try something. The next forged signature arrived in the form of a notice from my insurance company. Policy changes, beneficiary updates. I wasn't listed first anymore. Emily was. My own name had been reduced to a footnote. I drove myself to the office the next morning. The young woman at the front desk spoke to me slowly like I might shatter. I'm here about my policy, I said. She smiled. Of course. Are you Ms. Caldwell? I am. She hesitated. Your daughter usually handles these things. I leaned in just slightly. Does she? Something in my voice must have shifted because her smile thinned into professionalism. She pulled up the file. And there it was again. That signature. Wrong. Too neat. No pause. I didn't authorize this, I said. She frowned. We have documentation. I'd like copies, I said. Of everything. She looked uncertain. I'll need approval from your agent. My agent works for me, I said. 5 minutes later, a man with gelled hair and a tight tie sat across from me in a glass office. He spoke kindly. He showed me forms. He gestured at signatures. I want to show you something, I said. From my purse, I removed one of Harold's old birthday cards. He used to sign his name the same way every time, and he used to tease me about how consistent I was too. I turned it toward him. This is my signature. Then I showed him the policy form. Now this one, I said, is not. He studied them longer this time. You're saying your daughter forged these. I'm saying I replied that someone did. He exhaled. Miss Caldwell, if this is true, it's serious. Yes, I said softly. It is. He printed everything. I took it home and added it to the chest. Signs. Emily noticed the change in me before anyone else. You seem sharper lately, she said one afternoon, watching me peel apples at the counter. Do I asked. Yeah. Quieter. Focused. She laughed a little. Like you're planning something. The knife paused. Just a moment. Maybe I am, I said. She didn't laugh that time. The turning point came with the house. My house. The one Harold and I bought with money from 3 jobs and a miracle. The one where the stair rail still had his thumbprint worn into the wood. The one where Emily learned to walk and David learned to lie. Emily brought the realtor without telling me. They walked through the living room, murmuring about great bones and necessary updates. The realtor glanced at me once, then back to Emily. Oh, this is my mother, Emily said. She lives here. Lives here. Not owns. Not decides. Lives. The realtor smiled at me. It's lovely to meet you. I nodded. You too. How much are you listing it for? Emily's head snapped slightly. We're just exploring options. Options are numbers, I said. The realtor hesitated. Well, comparable homes in this area are going for. I didn't agree to sell my house, I said. Emily's hand came down on the kitchen counter. Not hard, but sharp. Mom, we've talked about this. No, I replied. You've talked. I've listened. That's not fair. Neither is this. The realtor looked between us, uncomfortable. Maybe I should. Yes, I said. You should. When the door closed, the house seemed to inhale. Emily turned to me, her face flushed, eyes bright. You're not being reasonable, she said. I'm being present. She scoffed. You can't manage this place anymore. The stairs, the maintenance, the bills. I manage very well, I said. You manage without asking. Her voice dropped. We're trying to protect you. I stepped closer. Close enough that she had to look at me instead of past me. From what? I asked. She opened her mouth. Closed it. Something passed between us then. A recognition. A flicker of understanding that I was not where she thought I was. She gathered her purse. I'll talk to David. Please do. That evening David came. He stood in the doorway like he used to when he'd broken something as a boy. Emily says you embarrassed her, he began. I told the truth, I said. He sighed. Mom, this isn't about truth. It's about what's best. For whom? For you, he insisted. Is it? I asked. Or is it about convenience? He rubbed his face. Why are you doing this? Doing what? Fighting us. I studied him. The familiar shape of his brow. The scar on his chin from a fall he never remembered. Because, I said, you are not fighting for me. You are managing me. And there is a difference. His jaw tightened. You're not well. I smiled, not warmly. Then why are you afraid to talk to me like I am? He didn't answer. He left soon after. That night, I couldn't sleep. I lay in the dark, listening to the house settle. Pipes ticking, wind worrying the eaves. And I realized something that felt like a small, clean tear inside my chest. They weren't stealing from me because they thought I was dying. They were stealing from me because they thought I was already gone. The next morning, I made an appointment. Not with my doctor. With a lawyer. Her name was Anita Brooks. She had silver braids and eyes that missed nothing. Her office smelled faintly of lemon and ink. She listened, really listened. Not the way doctors listen when they're waiting to interrupt. I laid the papers out on her desk, the forged signatures, the power of attorney, the policy changes. She compared them, slowly, deliberately. Then she looked up at me. Miss Caldwell, she said. How long has this been happening? I told her. She nodded once. And you did not authorize these changes? No. Are you competent to manage your own affairs? Yes. Do you have proof? I reached into my bag and handed her a small stack of papers. Recent bills, balanced, organized, notes in the margins, dates, calculations. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. She leaned back. What would you like to happen, she asked, if everything you're telling me is confirmed? I didn't answer right away, because that was the question, wasn't it? Not what they deserved. What I wanted. I thought of Emily's hand on my counter, of David calling me by my condition instead of my name, of my house being priced like an object I had misplaced. I want, I said carefully, to be visible. Anita's mouth curved, not into a smile, into something steadier. Then, she said, we start by making you undeniable. We worked for 2 hours. By the time I left, I had a plan. Not revenge. Structure. Boundaries. Documentation. And a quiet path forward that did not involve asking permission. When I got home, Emily's car was already in the driveway. She was inside on the phone. Yes, I'm here now. No, she doesn't know yet. The realtor says. She turned, saw me, and stopped. I set my purse down, slowly. Emily, I said. Yes? We need to talk. Her eyes flicked to my hands. What about? About the signatures, I replied. She went very still. The silence between us thickened. What signatures? She asked. The ones you wrote, I said, with my name. She laughed once, a brittle sound. Mom. I remember everyone, I said. And for the first time, she looked at me like I was not a problem to be solved, but a situation. There are moments when the truth doesn't explode. It settles. It sits between you and the person you raised, like a third body at the table, breathing quietly, waiting to see who will acknowledge it first. Emily was the one who broke eye contact. She busied herself with my mail, shuffling envelopes that had already been opened, aligning their corners like if she could make them neat enough, they would behave. Mom, she said, still not looking at me, you're tired. You get ideas. You misinterpret things. I compared them, I replied, side by side, old ones, new ones, with professionals, that made her look up. Professionals, she repeated. Yes. She searched my face, and I saw calculation there. Not panic, not guilt. Calculation. You went to a lawyer, she said. It wasn't a question. I did. Her mouth tightened. You had no reason to do that. I had several. She folded her arms. You don't understand what we're dealing with. What are you dealing with? I asked. That requires my name. She shook her head, a little laugh escaping her. This is exactly what I mean. You jump to conclusions. You make everything personal. I am personal, I said. This is my life. She exhaled sharply, and finally did what she should have done weeks ago. She sat. The chair scraped against the floor. She leaned forward, elbows on knees, hands clasped. Do you know how hard it is, she began, to watch you fade? I am not fading. You are, she insisted. You repeat yourself. You forget appointments. You leave things on. You can't keep up with the house, the finances, the technology. It's not safe. So you replaced me, I said. We stepped in, she corrected, without telling me, because you wouldn't listen. I let that sit. Did you plan to tell me? I asked, after everything was transferred. Her silence answered. My voice softened. Emily, did you ever intend to tell me? Her jaw flexed. You wouldn't have agreed. No, I said. I wouldn't have. She looked up sharply. Exactly. So you forged my name. I did what I had to do. There it was. The sentence people use when they've already crossed the line and need it to sound like a bridge. I nodded slowly. You had a choice, she scoffed. And let you spiral? Let you lose everything? Lose it to whom? I asked. She opened her mouth. Closed it. David is in on this too, I said. She hesitated just long enough. Not like you, I continued. He's not the one writing. But he knows. She leaned back. He agrees that you need help. He agrees, I said, that this is easier. Her eyes hardened. You're not thinking clearly. I am thinking very clearly, I said. And what I see is my daughter stealing my life because she doesn't trust me to finish it myself. Her face flushed. That's not fair. I raised you, I said. I taught you to write your name. I know exactly how you make your E's. And I know every place you hesitated when you signed mine. Her breath caught. Just a fraction. Emily, I said quietly, how many documents are there? She stood abruptly. You're being dramatic. How many? I repeated. She grabbed her purse. I'm not doing this. Then I will, I said. She paused at the door. I didn't raise my voice. I have copies, I told her, of everything I've found. Insurance, banking, utilities, property. And a lawyer. She turned. What do you want? She demanded. I met her gaze. I want you to stop. And if we don't, then this becomes something else. Her mouth twitched. You really do that? To your own children? I tilted my head. You already did. I'm just deciding whether to call it what it is. She stared at me, searching maybe for the softness she was used to exploiting. She didn't find it. David will never forgive you, she said. That makes two of us, I replied. She left without another word. The house felt bruised after she was gone. Not broken. Bruised. Tender in places that hadn't hurt before. I stood in the living room and looked around like someone might after an argument that rearranges the furniture in your head. Everything was where it had always been. The clock, the photographs, Harold's chair. But something invisible had shifted. The illusion was gone. That night, David called. His voice was tight, controlled. Emily says you threatened her. I stated facts, I said. She's upset. I imagine she is. Mom, he said, why are you doing this? I'm stopping something, I replied. He sighed. You're going to tear this family apart. I closed my eyes. David. When did we become a family that signs each other's names? He didn't answer. You know, I continued. I used to sign your permission slips, field trips, camp, medical forms. I did it because you were children. You weren't capable yet. And when you grew, I stopped. Because that's what growing means. He was quiet. What you're doing, I said, is treating me like I never grew past that. That's not true. Then stop making my decisions, I said. Let us help you, he pleaded. I didn't ask for this help. You need it. Or you want it, I said. Those are not the same. He exhaled. You're not going to win this. I smiled to myself. I'm not playing. We hung up. 2 days later, the papers arrived. A formal evaluation notice. Medical capacity assessment. Requested by Emily. She'd gone the official route. The one that ends with people speaking to you in hallways instead of rooms. I took the letter to Anita. She read it, then nodded once. All right, she said. Then we move forward. Forward to what? To visibility, she replied. To record, to control. She made calls. She drafted documents. She scheduled things. A new power of attorney. Mine, replacing the one they'd forged. A revocation of all unauthorized changes. Formal letters to my bank, my insurance, the utilities, the county. And a request. Not for evaluation. For investigation. Forgery, she said calmly. is not a family disagreement. It's a legal matter. The word sat heavy. Legal. It made Emily's actions smaller and larger at the same time. Smaller because they could be categorized. Larger because categories come with consequences. The assessment was scheduled for the following week. A neutral geriatric psychiatrist. My home. Emily insisted on being present. Anita advised against it. She's family, I said. Exactly, Anita replied. But I let Emily come. I wanted her there. The doctor was a woman in her 40s with kind eyes and efficient hands. She asked me questions about dates, names, history, current events. I answered. She had me perform tasks, remember lists, draw shapes, explain processes. I did. Emily sat very still on the couch, hands folded, face arranged into concern. When the doctor asked about my finances, Emily leaned forward. I usually manage those. I didn't ask you, the doctor said gently. Emily leaned back. I explained my system, my records, my routines. I showed her my folders. My notes. My ledger. She examined them carefully. The test lasted over an hour. When it was done, the doctor closed her folder and turned to me. Ms. Caldwell, she said, you are fully capable of managing your own affairs. Emily's breath left her sharply. The doctor continued, I see no evidence of cognitive impairment that would justify the changes described. Emily spoke. But she forgets things. She gets confused. We all forget things, the doctor replied. That is not incapacity. She gathered her things. I'll submit my report, she said. If there's nothing else. There is, Anita said from the doorway. Emily turned. Anita stepped in, calm, composed, carrying a slim briefcase. Miss Emily Caldwell, she said, I represent your mother. Emily's eyes flicked to me. Your presence here has been noted, Anita continued, as has your role in several unauthorized transactions. Emily's voice rose. This is ridiculous. Anita opened her case and removed copies. Forged signatures, she said. Altered beneficiary forms. Property inquiries made without even a consent. We are in the process of notifying the relevant institutions. Emily stood. You can't be serious. I am always serious, Anita replied. Emily turned to me. You really do this? Report me. I would really stop you, I said. You're choosing strangers over your own daughter. I'm choosing myself, I said. You are the one who made us strangers. The room felt very quiet. The doctor slipped out. Anita handed Emily a letter. Cease and desist, she said. Effective immediately. Any further actions taken on Ms. Caldwell's behalf without explicit consent will be pursued. Emily tore the letter open, scanned it, then laughed. A short, sharp sound. You think this makes you powerful, she said to me. I think this makes me present, I replied. She stepped closer. You're going to be very lonely. I met her gaze. I already was, I said. The difference is now I know why. She looked at me then, really looked. And in her eyes, I saw something I hadn't expected. Fear. Not of punishment. Of losing access. She grabbed her purse and left. The door closed. Anita turned to me. Are you all right? I sat down slowly. I am, steady. She nodded. The report will support you. The institutions will reverse unauthorized changes. And then there is the matter of whether you want to pursue this further. I knew what she meant. Charges. Court. Public record. I thought of Emily as a child, writing her name in crooked pencil lines. I thought of David's scar. I thought of Harold's careful hands building a place for things people shouldn't find. I want, I said, to finish this. Anita inclined her head. Then we will. After she left, I walked through my house. Room to room. Touching the walls, the frames, the door handles. Everything felt real again. And yet, something inside me had sharpened, because protection is not the same as safety, and visibility is not the same as peace. I knew they would not stop quietly. And I was right, because that evening, as the sun folded itself behind the houses across the street, my phone buzzed. A message from David. "She's crying. She says you're trying to ruin her life." I set the phone down. Waited. It buzzed again. "You need to fix this." I picked it up and typed. "I am fixing something. You're just not used to it being seen." I didn't send anything else. I went to the cedar chest, lifted the false bottom, added the psychiatrist's card, Anita's letters, the evaluation notice, and a new page in my notebook. I wrote the date. And under it, I wrote, "They know I remember." And for the first time, I felt the shape of the end of this. Not like relief, like a narrowing, a corridor, a place where something had to happen. Soon. The quiet after confrontation is different from ordinary quiet. Ordinary quiet is empty. This kind is watchful. For several days after the evaluation, nothing happened. No visits, no surprise groceries, no carefully phrased calls. The house went still in a way it hadn't been in months, like an animal holding its breath. I used the time. Anita moved quickly. Banks froze transfers made under the forged documents. Insurance policies were restored. Utility accounts were returned to my name. The county clerk flagged my property file. Every reversal came with paperwork. Every correction left a trail. And every trail led back to the same place. Emily. David stopped calling. That hurt more than I expected. Not sharply. Dully. Like a tooth you don't realize is cracked until you bite down. On the fourth day, I drove myself downtown to sign affidavits. It was raining, the thin, persistent kind that makes the world look like it's being erased and redrawn at the same time. I wore Harold's old coat, the one that still smelled faintly of cedar. Anita met me in the lobby. "Once these are filed," she said as we walked, "the institutions will formally acknowledge the fraud. That doesn't automatically mean prosecution. But it creates the option." "The option," I repeated. She nodded. "And it protects you." The word again. Protect. We sat in a small conference room with beige walls and a table scarred by years of nervous hands. I signed my name. The real one. Each time, I felt the small familiar pause before the last L. When it was done, Anita gathered the papers and closed the folder. "Miss Caldwell," she said, "you should prepare yourself. Once this is processed, your daughter will be notified." I met her eyes. She already knows. Anita studied me for a moment. "Then I will walk you out." In the lobby, she stopped. "There is one more thing," she said. "Given the extent of the unauthorized actions, you may also consider changing your will." I almost laughed. Not because it was funny, because it was so obvious. "I already have," I said. Her eyebrows lifted slightly. "Last week," I continued, "before the evaluation." She smiled then, not professionally, personally. "Good," she said. "That evening, I cooked for the first time in months. Not because I had to, because I wanted to. I made a small chicken, potatoes, green beans with too much butter. I ate at the little table by the window, rain ticking against the glass, the radio low in the background. Every sound felt clear. After dinner, I washed one plate, one fork, one mug, and left them to dry. The knock came just after sunset. Not the light, impatient tap Emily used. This was heavier, slower. I knew before I opened the door. David stood on the porch, hair damp from rain, jacket half-zipped, eyes tired. He didn't smile. Neither did I. "Can I come in?" he asked. I stepped back. He walked into the living room like someone entering a museum of his own childhood. His eyes moved over the shelves, the pictures, the faint indent in the carpet where Harold's chair had always been. "She's not here," he said. "I know." He turned to me. "She got served today." "Yes. She's scared." "I was too," I said. He rubbed his hands together. "Mom, this has gone too far." "It went too far," I replied. "The first time she wrote my name, she was trying to help. She was trying to control. She thought you were slipping. And when she realized I wasn't," I said, "she kept going." He looked away. "She didn't mean to hurt you." "That doesn't change that she did." Silence stretched between us. "I don't want this to turn into something legal," he said finally. "It already is." "She could lose everything," he said. "Her job, her reputation." I studied him, the son who used to cry when his shoes were too tight. The man who now stood in my living room bargaining on behalf of someone who had erased me. "She took steps," I said, "that carry consequences." He swallowed. "You're really going to press this?" I didn't answer immediately. I walked to the bookshelf and took down a thin blue notebook. I opened it. Inside were photocopies, dates, transactions, signatures. My signature. Not mine. I handed it to him. "Read," I said. He hesitated, then did. His face changed as he turned pages. The tightness in his jaw, the crease forming between his brows. "This is a lot," he murmured. "Yes." She said it was just some forms. "This is not some forms," I said. He looked up. "Why didn't you stop her sooner?" "I did," I said. "You just didn't hear me." He closed the notebook slowly. "What do you want?" he asked. The same question Anita had asked. The same one Emily had demanded. This time, I didn't hesitate. "I want my name back," I said. "In every way. I want what was done to be acknowledged for what it was. And I want it on record that I am not invisible, not incompetent, not available to be replaced." He nodded faintly. "And if that hurts her," he said. "Then that hurt belongs to her choices," I replied. "Not my memory." He was quiet a long time. Finally, he said, "She says you're punishing her." I tilted my head. "I am stopping her." He looked at me, really looked, the way people do when they realize the version they've been carrying no longer fits. "You don't seem broken," he said quietly. I smiled. "I never was." He let out a breath that sounded like something giving way. "I didn't know," he admitted. "That," I said gently, "is the danger of listening to the wrong narrator." He nodded once. "I can't fix what she did," he said, "but I can stop pretending it didn't happen." That would be a beginning. He stepped closer, then hesitated, as if unsure whether he was still allowed. I opened my arms. He hugged me carefully at first, then like a son. When he left, the house felt quieter, but not watchful, settled. The formal notice came a week later. Forgery acknowledged. Unauthorized actions reversed. Potential criminal liability established. Anita called to walk me through it. "They may seek a settlement," she said, "or mediation, or they may contest. But your position is strong." "Thank you," I said. After we hung up, I sat at the table and held the phone in both hands. I expected triumph. I expected vindication. What I felt instead was space. Room where something heavy had been. Emily didn't come. Not that day. Not the next. When she finally did, it was almost a month later. No car in the driveway. She walked. I saw her through the window, standing at the edge of the yard like she wasn't sure she still belonged to it. I didn't open the door right away. I finished my tea. Then I went. She looked thinner. Tired. Her hair was loose, not pulled back into its usual control. "Hi," she said. "Hello, Emily." She stared at the screen door. Can I come in?" I opened it. She stepped into the hallway and stopped, as if expecting an alarm to sound. I'm not here to fight, she said quickly. I know, I replied. She took a breath. They froze my accounts. Yes. My firm put me on leave. Yes. They're investigating. Yes. Her voice cracked. I didn't think it would go this far. I studied her. You didn't think, I said, I would go this far. She shook her head. I didn't think you could. That one landed. I let it. I was wrong, she said. I waited. I thought I was managing a problem, she continued. I didn't see you. I saw an ending. And so you hurried it, I said. Her eyes filled. I was scared. So was I replied. She looked up at me. Are you pressing charges? I considered her. The little girl who once wrote her name 100 times in a spiral notebook because she liked how it looked. The woman who had written mine because she thought it gave her the right. I am not withdrawing my statement, I said. She nodded slowly. But, I continued, I am not pursuing revenge. Her brow furrowed. What does that mean? It means, I said, that what happens next is not about punishing you. It is about correcting what you broke. She closed her eyes. I don't know how to fix this, she whispered. I stepped closer. You don't fix it by replacing me, I said. You fix it by seeing me. She nodded faintly. I see you, she said. I searched her face. Then, I replied, start acting like it. She left soon after. No hug. No reconciliation speech. Just a quiet exit. And that was enough. Because some endings are not meant to soothe. They are meant to clarify. Weeks passed. My accounts stabilized. My name returned to the places it belonged. I changed the locks. I updated my will. I reorganized the cedar chest, not to hide things, but to close it. I still see David. Carefully. We talk about ordinary things. Weather. Neighbors. The way the roses didn't come back as full this year. Emily writes. Sometimes. Short messages. Updates. No requests. I answer when I want to. The house feels like mine again. Not because nothing happened here, but because what happened here no longer owns me. People still speak slowly sometimes. They still offer help I didn't ask for. They still underestimate the way memory works in a woman who has survived a life. I let them, because memory isn't just recall. It's resistance. It's the quiet decision to remain authored. They thought I was forgetful. They thought time had softened me into something writable. But I remembered every signature, including my own. And in the end, that was the only one that mattered.